either we are there or not, ITSPmagazine still gets the best stories. There are plenty of conferences and all sorts of events that spark our curiosity and allow us to start conversations with some of the world's brightest minds. In person or virtually, we sit down with them at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Together, we discover what the synergy of these three elements means for the future of humanity. Knowledge is power, now more than ever. CrowdSec, the collaborative and open source cybersecurity solution. Analyze behaviors, respond to attacks, and share signals across the community for free. Let's make the internet safer together. Learn more at crowdsec.net.
EdgeScan offers continuous vulnerability intelligence as a service, accurately identifying vulnerabilities and exposures across the full stack. All threats are verified by cybersecurity experts, providing exploitable risk and remediation guidance, virtually false positive free. Learn more at edgescan.com.
Pantera, the leader in automation security validation, allows organizations to continuously test the integrity of all cybersecurity layers by emulating real-world attacks at scale to pinpoint the exploitable vulnerabilities and prioritize remediation towards business impact. Learn more at www.pantera.io.
Marco.
Sean.
Are you chirping?
I am chirping. Yes, I'm tweeting. I'm tweeting all the time.
I have the birds' tweets in my head, but it's the actual sound that I'm hearing. I don't know where it's coming from, and I can't claim them. Maybe I have to. I don't know. You can't claim him. I don't know if our guest Fox has birds and he's just messing with us. But
no, it's almost midnight here in Stockholm. All the birds are asleep. Might get an occasional owl.
That's right. one swooping down for fun. But yeah, Marco, this is our chats on the road to Hacker Summer Camp. We're still catching up with a lot of the speakers and keynotes and village organizers for Black Hat and DEF CON. And it's exciting, a first-year village, Marco.
I know. I'm excited to hear the story, the why about this village, almost like the origin story. We like That's to right. do being the first year, there's a lot to learn, a lot that we don't know. And thankfully, once again, we're not the only one on the podcast, and we have somebody that knows a lot more than us.
Exactly. So this is all about retail hacking, and there's the retail hacking village, and Fox is on to give us some insights. Fox, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited.
And at midnight from Stockholm, I guess your counterpart bailed on you, and he's in Vegas already.
Well, so he lives stateside, and he wanted me originally to come today as well, but I literally just got back from Norway for another event, so I had to spend one day with the family.
It's important
before you go out to the US.
Start breaking stuff. Well, listen, for those that don't know you, and that would be Marco and I included. This is our first time meeting you. Who is Fox? What do you do? What's your role at the village?
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Fox, usually Fox3455. I am an enterprise ICT and cyber TSCM security consultant. So I've worked on multiple contracts that, range from banking to payment stuff. I was brought into the village as a co-lead somewhat late into the game. But I've always had a fascination with retail devices and just kind of how the inner workings of retail works. I had my starts in Geek Squad, so I was able to tinker a bit there. I mean, allegedly.
Nice one. And then, I don't know, some of our listeners might have an idea of the scope of what you look at in payment. Because in some of the other conversations that Marco and I had, from the village perspective, we often see there's an overlap, right? ICS and IoT, there's certainly a fine line there. AppSec Village, can't have IoT without an app. So, I mean,
yeah, of course.
And Cloud Village. But this one seems like an interesting space that probably includes a lot of those things that I mentioned, maybe even more.
Yeah, so it was interesting, to say the least, trying to whittle down what exactly retail would entail. And unfortunately for them, but fortunately for us, the payment village couldn't make it this year. So we were able to take some of their content and merge it with our own, because in our opinion, retail and payment go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And so we were able to take their challenge, and we just kind of went ham with our budget, so to say. We have POS machines, and we got anti-theft tags and sales tags. We're bringing in the anti-theft pillars for people to play around with, So we're really excited in that. We even have scanners and inventory devices for people to mess around and play with.
So all of these obviously is inspired by real life stories, right? we know all the things that can happen and can go wrong in that space. So everything that you're doing right now, it's referred to that. And so what can people expect when they come there? Like is it like an evolution of the other village, a better version, an expanded version? No offense to the first one, I know they did a great job, but maybe like a larger, this merger brings some new perspective that they were not there before.
So I would really like to hope that we're expanding upon it in a positive way. Obviously, you can't have payment without the POS systems. So we're having a challenge to see who can take on our POS device, who can root it. It would be an honor if we keep saying, if you guys remember when the voting machine village started,
Yep.
and they got DMCA'd out the wazoo for people hacking them. We're hoping to see some interesting vulnerabilities come up with these POS systems, because honestly, for something that handles so much money transactions, right? They're very weak in security. Go ahead.
I was going to use that as an opportunity to say, kind of, how did the village come together then?
So, like I said, I wasn't there for the inception of the village, unfortunately. I was brought on afterward. But as far as I understand, it just kind of started when a couple of the guys were talking about, we don't really talk about the retail sector of things. Retail doesn't want to talk about the retail sector of things. I mean, I'm sure we can all agree that Target wants to forget about that HVAC hack from Black Friday.
Only been referenced once or twice, I think.
Yeah. We actually reached out to Target to see if they would work with us. They never got back to us, unfortunately. But when you don't talk about things, you allow things to fester. And we know that there's malware for cash registers and point of sale systems, especially with a lot of things going to self-service. That kind of makes a Wild West almost in the retail sector for things to be broken into or broken out of, as it may be for a point of sale system. And so it kind of just came, if you don't talk about it, someone's going to find it. And you just got to get your foot in the door and open up the possibilities.
So it's not that if you don't talk about it, you're safe, because I think that's kind of like the attitude, right? If you don't see me, I don't see you. If I don't see you, you don't see me. No, I'm just kidding. So the connection that I'm thinking, and I apologize if it's a stupid question, but I go by no question is a stupid question.
No, of course.
The connection, like with all the online retail now that's going on, of course they use API there, but is it like a connection between the physical retail and the online retail.
So I'm really glad you brought that up because
it wasn't a stupid question.
No, so we actually have someone who's hosting a discussion at the Village. He worked for Klarna on a contract, and I'm not sure if you guys use Klarna in America, but we use it a lot in Europe, and it is a secure payment method to use online transactions. And he has some pretty interesting takes on what he saw there. He has mitigating vulnerabilities in two-factor authentication and preventing account takeover, and ethical considerations in using digital footprints for verifying identities for online services. So there will definitely be a lot of discussion of that. We also have a sponsor for the Village, Ombori. They're a Swedish company, and they are graciously coming out. And if not this year, then next year, they were developing a challenge around their online sales solutions to allow people to attack it, hack it, etc. So
that's interesting. So they're a service provider or an app provider.
If I'm not mistaken, they're an app provider. But don't quote me on that one.
Well, they're building something for the sector to use, and they're looking to the community to help understand its weaknesses and help shore it up a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Ombi's Grid is a SaaS platform that enables businesses to digitally transform into smart stores, smart offices, smart hospitals, and smart cities. So there you go.
Nice.
With when talking with their CEO, he was interested in the idea, but obviously a little wary to just let hackers go at their platform. But he himself is a techie at heart, and he's really interested in the idea. Always wanted to go to DEF CON as well, so it really worked out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't normally hone in on a company, but just the fact that they take this seriously and they value the work being done. I think
the willingness alone
is it's worth highlighting. It's worth highlighting. Others should follow suit. So what else can people see and hear? Any other highlights you want to?
Yeah, so we have a ton of tags, like I said. So people will be able to essentially make their own name badges at the Village with the item tags. We have other talks, obviously. Rock the Cash Box is one that I'm most interested in, but probably the greatest title we have is I Know What You Ate Last Summer. So yeah, we're going to have great talks, great challenges at the Village. We're even trying to jump on that dolphin hype train with the flipper, and we'll be preparing some RF frequencies for people to try out and add to their flippers, which I'm sure we'll see in abundance at DEF CON this year.
I've already seen people trying to trade stuff for flippers and vice versa. Already fun. I was going to ask you about, because you talked about self-service and you talked about inventory, and you just talked about smart stores and things like that. It's not just the cash register and the handheld point of sale. I mean, there's a whole ecosystem of stuff.
Oh, massive ecosystem
sitting inside. Maybe share a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, stores are like a proverbial mess, so to say, of networking traffic and devices on their network. I mean, all the way from their APs to run things to Target's infamous HVAC system. You know, you have all the different security cameras and the spider traps. Then you have the whole inventory system itself. There's just so many ways to get into a network at a store. It's kind of baffling that the security is not, at least where I think it should be, for something that just anyone can walk in and access.
Yeah, it is kind of worrisome, especially after so many things that happened that actually ended up in the news. And, you will think it's not a good thing for the brand. That's for sure. But people tend to forget, I guess. They get used to to all these kind of things. So tell me something. Who is the typical villagers that comes there? Like what side of security is interested in your village?
So I'll hopefully have a better answer for that when I get to DEF CON. This is the first year village.
Okay, make a guess.
But if I had to guess, we have seen a lot of, what are they called? Breakout hackers. So, when you go to any sort of self-service terminal and you attempt to break out of the, company restrictions for whatever it may be, usually for, Windows client side. We've had a lot of interest in the physical hackers, even talk of a lot of these systems run through Ethernet. They want to sniff the traffic on these and see what exactly they're passing on the network. What can you get from the cash register or even the payment device itself, whatever you're using to tap that credit card, the now I can't think of it. What is the phone connected iZettle or those sort of devices? What are those passing back and forth? What can you sniff? The Bluetooth traffic. So we've had a lot of interest in RF, a lot of interest on the physical packet capture side, and just a lot of people wanting to have unrequited access to a point of sale system and see what they can get out of it.
Yeah, super cool. And I saw a tweet earlier today about somebody, they uncovered the sequence of buttons. This isn't retail, but it just reminds me of it. Sequence of buttons you press in your hotel room.
I think that was Shannon with Hack5, right? Yeah.
Yeah, to do, and I'm trying to remember now exactly what it was.
It was to bypass, that tells you how many people are in the room or something around those lines. And knock it down as cool as you want. Yeah. Which we'll need in Vegas, so
right.
Not all heroes wear capes.
That's right. I presume there are some of those in retail shops, but I guess the point for me is that there are what I used to call Easter eggs, right? These special to make it do something that it's supposed to do, but only with certain rights.
Well, yeah, especially like with these Zigbee devices, right? The Bluetooth isn't the most secure. I'm even bringing an Uber tooth so people can sniff out traffic on the Bluetooth side. Like I said, the iZettles, they famously use Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and
you just give me an idea. When people go to Vegas and the hotel should give the room for free to the hackers. It's a pen testing. It's an active pen testing situation. So, they definitely can get a better safety perimeter defense there.
They're going to test it anyway.
Exactly.
So they may as well make some money.
It's going to get tested.
I guess so.
Make some money to fix it.
Make some money, yeah, for sure. Yeah, scratch that.
All right. Hopefully, responsible disclosure policy. So certainly, it sounds like a lot of hardware hacking, network traffic sniffing, protocol sniffing. Any app stuff?
So like I said, let me make sure I say this name right. Ombori was going to develop a challenge. Unfortunately, the CEO came down with a high fever yesterday. So like I said, that might get pushed to next year. Hopefully not. Hopefully they can scramble someone to come. So they were going to have a challenge along those lines to see what we could do see what they could do on that platform. But outside of that, a lot of it's going to be physical this year.
Okay.
We're still trying to get the footing and working on getting more sponsors like ORI, the Open Research Institute, and Ombori. So,
well, it's exciting to hear about it from a new village. I think there are a few new ones this year. I remember it was a couple years ago, Marco, that there's like an explosion of new villages that we got to chat with, and it seems like there's some new ones this year. Retail hacking being one of them. So it's great to see the growth.
There is that thing that some have been merging, and that's what I was referring at the beginning, as a new village, but a come from a different one. Other, we were talking ICS and the Maritime Village, they kind of got together. And then the other thing that we're learning from talking with all of you is that anyway, there is a strong interaction and network between, I mean, you can't just have one village and being completely independent from the other when it comes to security. Everything is connected. So I guess I hope that everybody listening to this podcast, they can go inside one of the village, but for sure go check out everybody else, especially the new ones, because it's very important that everybody gets to explore and the community just get bigger and bigger, and that's what we really need, especially new people that come in the industry and they come to explore opportunity, right? So do you do something like that in the village too, like to facilitate, let's say, the new kids in town?
So we're certainly, actually, the co-lead Saito, who's supposed to join, it's his first in-person DEF CON. So that's been really interesting because we're coming off of, this will probably be, I know that last year there was in person, but this year is supposed to be the first in-person DEF CON that they're really expecting to have the numbers back. In talks with Nikita and a couple other people on the actual DEF CON staff, it's apparently been some pretty crazy planning. I mean, they put in a lot of work every year, but that's part of why we're working with the flippers, because we know that a lot of new people coming in have gotten flippers because it was kind of the one-stop shop hacking tool. And so we want to make it fun and interactive in that way and hope that some of the people, such as my father, is actually coming to his first DEF CON this year. And nice. Because that way he can understand how some of these tools work. So he's not just using the tool, but he's learning and able to implement that tool and, you know, in his case, maybe change the TV channel or control some fans, right? But for others, this could go to, I don't know, opening garage doors and rolling codes and things like that. And I like what you said about how much the villages interact, because we just yesterday opened up to hosting I believe it's Dangerous Things, but the implantation of RFID tags and NFC in your hand and other body modifications. We allowed them to come over from biohacking because I don't believe they're getting enough time there. So we said, hey, you know, NFC, RFID, that's all that's all part of retail now with the tap to pay cards and Apple Pay. So it'll be really exciting to see them come over. I got my NFC at the first year the biohacking village was around. So from Dangerous Things.
Nice.
So it'll be exciting to see those guys.
The embedded?
Yeah.
So
right.
Nice. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, we had an old podcast not too long ago about the crazy thing you can do, like with stuff in your hands.
Yeah.
you never forget your wallet, you know?
Exactly.
It's always with you.
Well, and that's the crazy thing. Most people wouldn't expect a connection between retail hacking and biohacking.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are, you know, trying to make those bridges, trying to make those connections.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, exciting. I hope you guys get a lot of people at the village. Being your first year, I'm sure some will just come to say welcome. And I mean, even if it's not your first year to DEF CON, of course, but as a village. So I would say, you know, congratulations and the best of luck with this DEF CON 30.
Super cool. And for everybody listening, thanks for joining us for this Chats on the Road. Let me mute Marco while he's moving his phone. And of course, there'll be links in the show notes to the village, their Twitter handle, schedule, all the good stuff that the team has put together. And of course, stay tuned for all of our Chats on the Road and all of our live streams from Black Hat and DEF CON this week. Looking forward to catching up with everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Pantera, the leader in automation security validation, allows organizations to continuously test the integrity of all cybersecurity layers by emulating real-world attacks at scale to pinpoint the exploitable vulnerabilities and prioritize remediation towards business impact. Learn more at www.pantera.io.
EdgeScan offers continuous vulnerability intelligence as a service, accurately identifying vulnerabilities and exposures across the full stack. All threats are verified by cybersecurity experts, providing exploitable risk and remediation guidance, virtually false positive free. Learn more at edgescan.com.
CrowdSec, the collaborative and open source cybersecurity solution. Analyze behaviors, respond to attacks, and share signals across the community for free. Let's make the internet safer together. Learn more at crowdsec.net. We hope you enjoyed this episode of our On Location Conversation. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share ITSPmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.